everyone, my name is Wayne Heath and welcome to Conversations with ClubRight, a podcast about sharing my experiences as an ex-gym owner and current business owner. We're at a really exciting time where the UK fitness and wellness market is worth over £20 million. So now really is a great time to start thinking about what you can do to make things better, or even starting your own fitness business if you don't already have one. We talk about topics from retention and driving membership sales all the way through to improving processes in your club and even interviewing the occasional guest. So get yourself comfortable and let's get on with the podcast. Fantastic. Well, Guy, welcome to Conversations with ClubRight and a virtual one.
Yes, indeed.
Well, we were thinking about getting in a car, driving around the M25 and getting through to Billericay head office and doing all that kind of thing. But COVID-19's changed a few things, right?
It has indeed, yes.
So I'd like to welcome Guy to our session today and our discussions, conversations with ClubRight. And Guy, you may or may not know, but I will put you right. Guy is the GGFit expert in retention. We've worked together for quite a number of years. We won't actually own up to how many years because that will be, well, I don't think we really need to, do we really? But put it this way, between the two of us, there was a wealth of information. That's all our listeners most probably need to know. Indeed. And I think now, more than ever before, it would be fair to say, it's quite a scary time for business, but equally an exciting time. And it's kind of some of those kind of questions that I would like to explore your mind with today, Guy, if that's okay.
Explore away, Wayne.
Fantastic. Well, here we go. I have a few questions all written down on my pad, so it's all here ready to rock.
Okay, cool.
And question number one, no joking. Yeah, here we go. So how do you see retention in COVID-19? What's your vision and how do you see it?
Well, more important than ever, because some clubs are still selling. But the majority are not, let's face it. So there's more of a focus than ever on retention, which is a good thing, because people are mainly concerned about one number, which is how many members do we have still.
Yes.
And I mean, in terms of the core and what we should be doing for retention, not a lot changes. It's about engaging with members, staying in touch with them, communicating with them.
Yep.
We're probably not doing things like inductions or program reviews, but there's no reason why we shouldn't be inducting new digital members. Making sure they're getting on the member path or the member journey properly. What we're not focusing on so much is contacting recently absent members, because all of our members are probably recently absent.
Yeah, whether they wanted to be or not.
Yeah. But there is still, we still should be running reports and looking at where members are at, whether they are still paying or in some kind of freeze, by which I mean paying something, whether it's 50% or 5% of the membership just to keep things ticking over.
Exactly.
Or whether they're suspended. And it's about keeping in touch with all those people. And I think the most important thing from member retention, this is something I've been banging on about on LinkedIn and other webinars and forums, is contacting cancellations.
Yes, it's a very good point.
So people are cancelling, regardless of whether you have paused membership payments or are still taking membership payments. Whatever choice, hopefully you've given your members a choice. And a lot of the big trusts and leisure centres have said we're pausing payments. We're not going to take any money.
Right.
Even they are seeing. I heard numbers 20-30% of members are cancelling.
Wow.
And that is a great opportunity. This is a bit negative, but if all those people are cancelling, it's a great opportunity to get in touch with them, find out how they are, reach out to them. Not necessarily, your primary goal is not to get them to rejoin or to reinstate their direct debit. It's just to find out how they're doing, to get some feedback, to show that you care.
And I think it's the caring bit most probably at this point in time that's so key.
Absolutely.
And I've seen, obviously so many customers that we have in our business is fundamentally independent gym owners.
Yeah.
And it's heartening to see how many members are generally wanting to support the gym that they love and they want to go back to and are happy, even though the doors are closed, to carry on paying. Which is awesome.
It is. I think it's a massive positive, particularly as you say, for independent clubs. One of the things I found when I ran an independent workshop a few months ago, and I went in with you should contact your cancelled members because you should get a feedback and you might get them to change their mind. But the feeling in the room, the main reason that independents particularly contact cancelled members is to show that they care. That was the kind of most voted reason on contacting cancellations. It's not to get them to rejoin. If they do, great. It's to get feedback, but mainly it's just to reach out and show that you do care about members, that to say thank you for the business if they've been a member for a month or for 5 years, and to find out their own personal stories. At the moment there's a lot of people who can't afford it, but do still need some kind of support. They might be cancelling, and you might say to them, well, during the lockdown or the pandemic, whichever way you want to put it, you know what, you can still access our tools, or you can still access, depending on what you're giving your fully
exactly
members. But why not offer them a virtual workout or a program, or join in the challenge that we're doing at the moment, because a lot of people do need that mental as well as physical.
I think they need that
support.
motivation, that focus on doing something. It's a bit like, yes, people may or may not be furloughed from work, but dare I say it, are they getting up at the same time they used to get up? Are they getting ready, or are they doing what? If I look at the amount of emails, and I'm sure you've had the same, I've had emails from all different clothing companies. I'm not even going to mention who they are because that'll be bad. But they're all trying to sell me lounge gear. They're obviously expecting me to just be lounging around doing nothing.
Absolutely.
It's just hilarious, really. But you need to be in a good habit, don't you? I think that's the key bit.
But I think there's an important point there on communications, and I don't know if I'm jumping the gun on what's on your pad, but
my next question then, let's just hold that a second then. So what is key in any fitness business right now from your point of view? Would that lead into that question quite nicely?
So communicating, yes, picking up the phone, not getting on a Zoom call. There are other things, although we're on a Zoom call now, this still works. Okay?
Yeah, does it? Oh, okay, that's good.
And that is the best way to contact your cancellations, in my mind. You have a proper conversation with them. You're not sending them an email saying, sorry to see you go, or one better than that, a survey, why are you going? I think we know the reason for that. It's having a conversation with those members. But rewinding back to like bulk communications, if you're a club with 500 or 1,000 members, even if you haven't furloughed all your staff, you can't ring them all each week. So email is probably the first point of call. But people's email inboxes are being hit hard by Sports Direct, amongst others, saying you should come and buy our dumbbells. If you won't mention them, I will. There's a lot of email traffic. Open rates generally have gone down. And unless you already had good open rates for your newsletters and other email comms you were sending, if you do that, you're probably doing all right still. But sending an email, I know quite a few clubs and organisations who've sent that email saying we're closing, we're not taking money, or we are. And then been surprised that not everyone opened it and read it.
Killer surprise.
But that's a fact. Open rates in the fitness industry generally on email are around 20%. So 1 in 5 will be opened.
That's interesting. Okay.
In normal times.
Right.
So sending that one email, it's a good start. Send it again to the people who didn't open it a day or two later. You'll get a few more. But then you need to look at other communication channels. You can put the same kind of information on your Facebook page or your Instagram or whatever else, depending on whether it is public information you want to be putting out, or if it is more private. If you've got a private Facebook group, you might do it like that. But look at text, and then look at letters. Direct mail was very successful. One of my favourite quotes is, on your 100th birthday, you'd be disappointed if the Queen sent you an email.
Right? So, 100%. I think that's a really good one. I like that.
There's still a place for postcards and letters.
Absolutely. Even more since GDPR came in, because people are not expected to see so much post through the door. It gets noticed.
Yeah, and if you got a postcard from your gym saying we miss you, yeah, we're still closed, but and I think that's going to be a big thing for reopening. I think a lot of clubs should be sending, should be splashing out on a few stamps.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to do it to your entire member database, go through a mailing company, you can get postcards out for 50p each, something like
Yeah,
that.
because it's kind of a bit of, in a way, I mean, I've seen a few people write about this already in LinkedIn and other things that we both obviously get involved with, but
Yeah.
it is going to be very much like a reopening, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
You've got clubs that you can see from a retention point of view from that subject matter today.
Mm-hmm.
I can see people that have got a good process and will continue to go through those processes and most probably are still in this current situation thinking out the box, which is
Yeah.
fantastic. But there's an awful lot of people who have no idea about any real process retention and actually how simplistic a lot of it can be. Without having to do too much, you can make a big difference.
That's right. And I have people might find this weird, but I think the simpler the better in terms of retention processes. But it does need to be a process, and it does need to be something that you're working on, every month, every week, maybe even for
Consistently
certain things, every
always
day.
doing.
Yes,
Yeah, 100%.
absolutely. And when we come out of lockdown, I think some things, if you do have some members that are paying in full and some members that are maybe frozen or suspended, from an economic point of view, some of those people are going to want to carry on being frozen for another month or 2.
100%.
So you need to think about how long you let them do that. But also, there will probably be social distancing,
Yes.
and there will be restricted hours or booking and opening time.
Of course.
And if you've got these 3 categories already, you might be splitting your communications and saying to the
Yep.
people who are paying in full, look, you can come back in the day we open. But if you have suspended, then I'm not saying you're second class, but you've got some segments there already.
Yeah.
But knowing, as I say, some people will still want to be suspended or frozen for a month or 2 or 3 because they won't be able to afford to come back.
And it's how you deal with that new norm of people's genuine desire to want to get fit.
Exactly.
It was a fabulous article again I saw today on Health Club Management.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, you most probably might have seen the same thing as this morning, where someone, a professor, was happily telling the world that if you were a lot fitter, you're in a far better state to fight disease.
Yeah,
and nothing.
I see those things being shared, and I'm a little bit, no surprise, Sherlock.
Yeah, exactly. There is no
but
surprise.
It's great to see those messages, right?
I think so, and I think it's also great when I look outside the front of my house in the morning to see more people running by there than I've ever seen before, and obviously a lot less cars, which is also a good thing.
That's right. Yeah, the number of friends who've shocked me by joining Strava and drawing various pictures around the local parks and things like that. It's brilliant. It's really refreshing.
It is actually refreshing. So there is a whole load of good out of this, and that kind of leads me into the next question, because from any business point of view, systems are going to be key. Mm-hmm. What kind of things do you think, not necessarily the systems, we know there's a great system on board and we're not even going to mention the name because we could talk about it here and now, but we're not going to worry about that. But in terms of more's the point is, what are you expecting systems to be able to do that are going to be useful? That's most probably the key things. What can the system do?
So, I mean, it'll be... I think it'll be the same kind of stuff that we have been doing, but if we can simplify things like automation and triggers, which in the most part have hopefully been turned off. I mean, hopefully you're not still triggering messages to people who've been or not been for 45 days.
Yes, he joined 4 months ago and still getting the welcome messages. Yeah.
But I think it's understanding what people want.
Yes.
If clubs are following our advice and having more conversations with members, we will understand our members better coming out the other side. So there will be the right kind of triggers in place. They will be simple. We'll be able to monitor them and measure them, which that's kind of a core of what we do at GGFit. Sending messages out is pretty straightforward and simple, to be honest. Showing what difference they've made, that's the interesting thing for us.
Of course.
It helps, whether it's helping an instructor to deliver better inductions because of the feedback they're getting, or helping a PT to ultimately, hit a certain number of
Yeah.
welcome sessions, and therefore sell more PT further down the line, and helping them to follow up all those interactions.
And kind of creating like the member journeys, which I'm obviously very passionate about, is that you can have a different journey for a prospect and a different journey for a member, and as we've always discussed countless times. But
absolutely,
the one thing I think is key, and I'm sure hopefully you'll agree, is that what that journey is going to be. And it's not overcomplicated. It might actually just be 6 communications over a period of 12 months.
Yes.
But the outcome is where you want that customer to be feeling about your business, and I think that's really important.
That's right. And yes, and that would be a standard journey. And again, like I said, I want to keep it simple. But
of course,
if that's your standard journey, that hopefully more than half, or let's say the majority, it might only be 40% the majority. There might be 5 or 6 other versions of it. But ideally, there's 2 or 3. But when people drop off that, how do we get them back on, or what other journey do we get them back on? And I think that's one of that's one of the changes that probably come about with digital. And I think we'll need to work harder at retaining digital members.
Yes.
And giving them nudges to keep them engaged. So, but yeah, I hope that what we will learn is more about our members and more about what they want. And
I think it's kind of leads quite nicely into my fourth question, actually, because if you look at, say, the question I was going to ask you, Guy, was what do you do with someone who has not been seen in the club for 4 months? That's always that danger period. Now, whether they're physical people or virtual, for want of a better word, person, i.e. they might be enjoying your online facilities if that's what you continue to do. Yeah. It's still that key point, isn't it? You haven't seen them for 4 months, so that's quite dangerous now. So what's your recommendations there?
It is, and the standard thought is, don't contact sleepers, don't wake the sleeping dogs, this kind of thing. I will always try and push a club, normally, against the chief exec or chief financial officer's wishes, to keep contacting people as long as possible, because that's the ethical thing to do. That's the right thing to do. But start contacting them at week 3, not at month 6 or month 4, as you put it, Wayne. All bets are off at the moment. And I think when I talked earlier about that big cancellation figure, a lot of the people that have cancelled, regardless of what kind of club it is, have either got that message and haven't been for 6 months and have gone, oh yeah, I'll cancel that, or they've not got the message and thought, I must cancel that, otherwise they're going to take my money. But getting in touch with dormant members, I think if you've got a good online offering, whether that's workouts or classes, whether it's in your app, whether it's going, well, look, we've got all of Les Mills here, or whether you're just running a challenge to see who can do the most Joe Wicks, which is clearly not your content, but if that's something that is helping your members, then put that out there, engage with those members, even though they've not been for a while. Because if you've got something digital, then you want to put it in front of them, because it might engage them, might bring them back in. Some are going to cancel. But the other thing that a lot of the clubs I'm talking to are now starting to get turned on about is, okay, we've got this great online offering. We're doing whatever boot camps, or we've got this challenge running, or there's something simple like a workout of the day. I've seen a big university sports centre that we work with. One of the instructors is doing just tricep dips on a chair in his back garden.
Simple stuff with no equipment.
The facility they've got is like a 300-piece Technogym. It's just one of the most amazing gyms I've seen. And they've got Lawrence in his back garden doing dips on a chair and press-ups on a chair. And it's going off on Instagram. It's brilliant.
I can well believe it. And it's because it's engaging the members at a different level, actually a very personal level as well.
Yes. And my point there is, don't just contact your members. You'll have a bunch of diehards who are doing those exercises or doing those classes, or
Yeah,
just mad about Les Mills, which is brilliant. Or they'll all have MyZone belts on and
of
running
course.
around the block with their Fitbits like me. They'll be back in the club the
Of
day
course
you
they
open
will.
anyway.
Absolutely.
It's the ones that are less engaged or more on the periphery that you need to try and engage with. But the other part is you've got a long prospect list. You've
Mm,
also got a massive ex-member list if you've been open more than a year or two.
yeah.
You want to be hitting all of them with this online content. And whether you're, is obviously a business decision, whether you're giving it away for free at the moment during lockdown, or whether it's, you need to pay this to access
Well,
it.
see, that's interesting. So you might be giving, I mean, I've got a number of clients that are telling me not dissimilar stories that with an existing member who's still paying them,
Yeah.
they are giving it free. But their existing members are telling other people who are not members
Right.
that actually I'm really enjoying this stuff. Do you realise what my gym's doing?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's quite cool. Then they're starting to pay for it.
Yep, absolutely. I was on a boot camp with a client of mine. So she
Yep.
runs a boot camp locally in Wokingham, and I've been coaching her for a little while. And she does this Sunday morning free boot camp,
Okay.
and she broke her Zoom license on Sunday morning.
Wow.
Because she had over 99 people on it. I say broke
Is
her
she?
license. She had to
Yeah, but she
upgrade
has a
to
limit
100.
over 100, isn't it? Yeah.
She's now thinking, could I get 500 people on my Sunday morning boot camp?
Yeah.
I mean, actually, she probably had close to 200. There were 4 of us doing it in our lounge.
That's fantastic. And that's
So-
the other thing, isn't it? It's engaging for a lot of people.
Absolutely, yeah. And my missus, I was surprised, but Tracy enjoyed it and said we should do that again next Sunday. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, fine.
And I think it's a new level, which kind of leads on to our fifth question, really, and saying that what are we going to be? What would your best advice? Because let's be fair, there may sadly, let's be honest with each other, there may be one or two businesses that might sadly, whatever types of business they are, that might not reopen, might not survive.
There will. There's no doubt about it.
But equally, there's a whole load of people that are going to recharge their batteries, think about some of this time making good of it, and come out of it in a better way when they open up the doors. It's a bit like, I remember an article many years ago saying that most entrepreneurs and business owners are better second time round.
Yes.
And there's an element of that I totally and utterly see right now.
So
kind of on that note, what would be your best advice for someone who is in essence going to reopen or relaunch?
I mean, back to process. You've got to have a process for that. We don't know if you know what that is already, then you've jumped the gun.
Right.
Because we don't know how we're going to be able to reopen yet. But having some ideas about that, and as I say, things like if you've got a few members who've been paying extra, you might be starting. Well, I know some clubs are already starting to think about how they repay them, whether it's with a voucher or extra membership at the end or whatever else. You think about that, but before that, you're probably going to have to think about: do you let them in first? Are they in some kind of priority queue?
That's a nice idea. Yeah, I like that idea. Yeah.
And then how you're handling taking people off suspension or off freeze or whatever it is, and having some kind of, Wayne, we're going to start taking your direct debits again next month. It'll be on the first of the month. Is that okay? Text back 1 to accept, or 2 to say no, I need to freeze another month.
Of course.
So things like that are important. In terms of growing the business, though, it's looking at the digital offering. I believe that, well, I mean, it's clear that digital, we've been dragged, some clubs kicking and screaming.
It was happening anyway. It's just happened a whole lot quicker.
It was. We've just had to put the accelerator down and get out of first gear at last,
Absolutely.
which is brilliant.
Yeah.
But I think, or I hope, that the digital offering will engage with more people. And I think the clubs that are successful at it won't try and upsell everyone onto a bricks and mortar club membership. So there'll be people who are happy with digital, and whilst it is seen as maybe a lead channel to come in to a full club membership, it won't be for everyone. So there'll be people that you don't leave behind, but people who are quite happy having a digital membership, doing a class a week, when they miss one, doing it on catch up, and engaging in that way. If you then want to upsell them come in and do a metabolic balance on the meter scales or whatever it is once a month, then brilliant. Because because that just raises the kind of engagement and raises the stickiness, I think, because otherwise retention of the digital member is going to be harder.
Yeah, but I think, like you said, for me, I'm totally in agreement with you. And I do think this online revenue stream is going to be a new revenue stream. I think it's going to, if you go back to, like you mentioned, bricks and mortar. I remember as being an ex-gym owner years ago, me and my wife and I, when we had our gyms, is that there was always going to be a whole raft of people you were never going to get over your threshold. They're never going to come, never going to come. But I know now, speaking with friends and people I'm speaking to and people I know, is that we've got a whole load of people now who would still never go across that threshold.
No, that's right.
But have suddenly found in between work times, they might work at home anyway, so it's nothing new for them. They've now can jog something into childcare and school times and everything else. Guess what? You haven't got to worry about the crash in the facility maybe as much as you might have thought it was. You've suddenly got this whole new revenue stream of people that would never come to see you, but now think you might be quite an attractive proposition.
Absolutely, yeah. And the other retention angle on it, which I don't know if you thought about yet, but when people are cancelling because they don't have time, they can't afford it, they
exactly right. I know where you're going to go with this one.
Like, okay, well, let's drop you down to the online. In fact, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the online membership for the next month, and we'll see how you get on with that. And now that's where you've got to be incredibly sticky. And you've got to really nail the, are you I'm calling you. I've got you on Facebook and I'm calling you for the live session. Here we are. There's going to be 7 of us on it. And you get a weight management meeting or group to attend or whatever else it is. But it's those offerings that will help save members. And again, I don't think it's necessarily going to be to get people to come back into the club, but it's to say, look, here is something that we can still offer you because you've quoted these things as reasons.
And it's a
big one for that. The classic reason for leaving.
Go on.
Oh, you know what people put in leaver surveys. The most popular one. Have a guess.
I've moved house.
Yeah, moving away. It's like, okay, moving away from the internet? Don't think so.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things that Heidi saw on her boot camp at the weekend was people logging in from Switzerland, people logging in from Manchester. Her daughter's in Manchester on lockdown, and she was then giving shout outs to people. She was kind of running the session and saying, Wayne's here because of Guy. Well done, Guy, for bringing Wayne, and just kind of connecting people like that, because at the moment that's really important for people.
Exactly. And I think that new norm has been set, that new level of communication has been set. I think there's business owners out there, myself excluded, because I've always done that, look at that transient opportunity to work remotely where possible with the whole team. But what I can see now is that there's a lot of business going to go, well, actually, do we need these big offices? Do they all need to be here all of the time? Can there be more balance in family work time? Could be some exciting times going ahead. I really do think so.
Definitely will. But as I say, the businesses that come out of this will do really well, and that there'll be a big focus on sales again, and there's lots of discussions on a lot of forums about whether the big budget gyms are going to do better than leisure centres and who's going to steal whose members and whatever else. But as you say, Wayne, we're going to tap into more of the population, and I think the fitness industry, I think this is the way we get beyond the 15%.
Yes, God willing. Exactly. Yeah. So, in summary, we've covered an awful lot just now, haven't we? I mean, we've been talking for over 30 minutes. So it just proves we can't stop talking.
As always.
So, in essence, what we're saying here is that great communication is key.
Yep.
Having a process, if you haven't already got a process, is critical.
Yeah, but a simple process.
Exactly. Simple process, having that in place, making sure that you are looking to the future so that this period in time where it may not be as busy as you'd like and you've run out of walls to paint in the gym ready to reopen, it's about how you're going to pay for everything when they come back and getting people back engaged, and
absolutely
not ignoring the new stuff that's coming in. So online is new to many people, and it's moved just like that to a point where I think even my 10-year-old knows that Zoom has now become a household name.
Yes.
So I'm going to speak to my friends on Zoom, Daddy. Can you log me in?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, not at the moment. I'm interviewing Guy.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't need the bandwidth to drop now. Thank you.
That's right.
Well, I think that's been great. We've learned a lot between the two of us, and I'm looking forward to sharing this out with everyone else very shortly.
Good. Well, yeah. Thanks for the opportunity, Wayne.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks so much. We'll meet very soon.
I look forward to it. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks so much, Guy. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. We want to help as many business owners as we can in this podcast. So remember to share it with your friends and let us know what topics you would like us to talk about next. See you next time.